Karma and Forgiveness. How Toxic Positivity Plays into the Hands of Narcissists. Part 2. Welcome to today's topic, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Coach Tobias Forst, founder of Achilles Life Coaching, decade-long recipient of narcissistic abuse, and I've saved myself from it. And I accompany you on your journey to your personal freedom. If you haven't seen part 1 of this 3-part series about toxic positivity yet, feel free to click the icon above and watch part 1 before continuing with this video. That said, we will deal with 4 aspects today, 4 different steps. First of all, we will look at what karma is. Second, what karma is not. Third, we will look at how communities, social surroundings use karma and forgiveness in a manipulative way. And fourth, we will talk about forgiveness in greater detail. So let's start with what karma is. Karma is a special law of cause and effect. Whatever you are doing today is the cause for a future effect. Whatever you are experiencing today is the effect of a past cause. Karma offers the possibility for personal growth and transformation. Karma is basically, in a way, the first disembodied life coach, if you will. And whatever happens, whatever you experience, holds within, if you choose to find it and look for it, that which you require to grow and develop and evolve in life. And karma can only develop, is probably the right word, I don't know, develop over the course of several lives. This concludes part 1, topic number 1. Topic number 2, what is karma not? And this is very important to keep in mind for the rest of the video, because we will be mostly dealing with what karma is not. Karma is not a system of reward and punishment. It is not, and please forgive me if I pronounce it in the wrong way, it is not a system of punya, that is sort of merit and reward, versus papa, if I pronounce it correctly, which is sin. And when it comes to this particular aspect of sin, within the framework of the simplified and wrong description of karma, there is one aspect I want to extrapolate and take out, because it bears looking at when it comes to narcissistic abuse. One aspect in particular about sin in this simplified, wrong interpretation of karma that is very widespread and is being used as a power tool, as a manipulative asset to control people. Not only in India, it is very widespread, and we find it in several settings in the West as well. And this one particular aspect of sin is that you should not harm another living being. Within this framework, okay, you should not harm another living being, not only human being, but living being. Who defines what harm is? First of all, ladies and gentlemen, harm does not necessarily have to be physical, the physical kind. As you are here, you are already familiar to a certain degree, to varying degrees, with emotional and mental harm when it comes to receiving narcissistic abuse. So who defines, so when you say something or don't say something to somebody else, who defines what emotional harm is? Is it you or the person you said it to or didn't say it to? That's the first big problem when it comes to this sin system within this simplified and wrong interpretation of what karma supposedly is. And a great many people believe this. Because if you ask the narcissists in your life, you, ladies and gentlemen, are inflicting, according to them, emotional harm by setting boundaries and making yourself less supply or no supply at all. So this wrong interpretation of karma yields a completely different incentive structure. Because you now are supposed to think of the emotional harm that you're doing, supposedly, to the narcissists in your life by setting boundaries and becoming bad supply. And this is simply wrong, ladies and gentlemen. This message is a lie to you. Let's continue this with a warning of Swami Sivananda. He warns about, you catch my drift, about a fatalistic attitude toward life. And I want to focus this warning toward narcissistic abuse in the following way, that your forgiveness toward the narcissists in your life, so that they do not suffer emotional harm from you, is not good karma. Your forgiveness is not good karma. Within this wrong framework, because this framework is simply wrong, this wrongful interpretation of what karma is supposed to be. You shouldn't forget one particular aspect, ladies and gentlemen. You are not, none of you are proactively emotionally harming somebody else by reactively setting boundaries. And I know I say this time and again, and I'm going to repeat myself as long as I live. The emotions of other people are not your responsibility. The emotions of other people are not your responsibility. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita sort of attacks this wrong interpretation of what karma is by saying that, along the lines of, if I recall correctly, that wrong framework will bind yourself in wishful thinking. If I only forgive, things will get better. They won't. They don't get better with narcissists. Forgiveness, your forgiveness toward narcissists, offers them the incentive structure of repeating what they're doing, amping it up maybe, without consequences. That is why this version, this interpretation of karma, which is simply wrong, is being attacked therein. We are supposed, ladies and gentlemen, we are supposed to extrapolate the life lessons from the events and happenings in our lives, so that we can use those to grow. Point number 3 of today's video: communities. If it is supposedly good karma, if you and everyone else in such a community, on the hierarchy level that you're at, that you are to do things for the higher-ups, that you are to tolerate certain behaviors from the higher-ups, then, ladies and gentlemen, you are not in a community that has your best interest or an actual community mindset at its center. But instead, you are in the house of little tyrants with big smiles. Is it good karma that you supposedly have the duty to marry him or her? Is it good karma if you supposedly have to sleep with him or with her? If any of you, ladies and gentlemen, that are watching this, are in such a community that uses parts of the concept of karma and interpret it, and in a perverted and wrongfully interpreted way, to manipulate you, I would like you to ask yourself the following 3 questions. Why are you there, or were there? Number 2, what lured you, what attracted you? It's more questions, but you catch my drift. What was it that enticed you to join? Or were you, by some social system, family pressure, forced to join? What's your experience with such communities? The more we share, the more we can learn and spot those depraved people that use something that use whatever they require of something that was meant in a good way, and use parts of it in a highly manipulative way, so that we can spot them, teach other people how to spot it and avoid it. And the last line of questions of the 3 I was mentioning, keeping in mind that maybe you were or still are part of such a community. Why should the words of somebody else in any way affect your worth? Number 4, good old forgiveness. Yeah, gloves come off now, ladies and gentlemen. Because it's not going to be very comfortable for a variety of reasons. You are in a situation, in a setting with one or more narcissists, maybe even in your relationship. And you want to forgive him or her. Again. Ask yourself about your personal motivation behind your wish to forgive. Are there any goals that you are pursuing by offering that forgiveness? Discuss it in the comments. I would like to know what moves you toward wanting to forgive. Whatever was done to you by certain kinds of people was not okay. And you might not want to give out forgiveness. And now there is a very important distinction I would like you to make. You not wanting to forgive does not mean that you are instead aiming for, striving for revenge, it does not mean that you're still holding a grudge. You just don't forgive what happened. And if anyone in your surroundings, or on television, or politicians, or community members, try to market forgiveness as something almost supernaturally grand, they are very likely to be enablers, guilty of engaging in virtue signaling. And whoever tries to present forgiveness as the highest good, maybe even as enlightenment, by telling you that you are to forgive whoever in your life for whichever reason, because it's good karma and they are that's just the way they are. That's just how the system works. You are to forgive them and stay in that system. Whoever tells you that and tries to sell you that as enlightenment is either childishly naive or a malevolent liar. And both of those will harm you. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, do not forget that even without offering forgiveness, you can still let go and be your own hero, be your own heroine. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.